We are Squawking Dead, a podcast pulverizing episodes beyond the Walking Dead universe. I'm your host, David Cameo, and I'm joined by Cosmo Mom 09, Rachel Burt, Sharon D, aka Blazy Gardner, and Bridget, ko-fi.com/Punky Brewster. That's PUNKYBRUISETER. And we're here to sometimes we give you news. Most times we make you laugh, but I don't know what the other one is anymore. I don't know. Just don't know. But we're here live.
We make deep.
There's not a whole lot of depth to plumb in this particular instance. So,
Where's my soundboard?
Sorry. Hey, I'm sorry if you don't like the truth.
The truth. Well, I guess we'll find out.
The truth will set you free.
We're
You
here
wanna
with
talk about
you
our special
live.
guest? Just kidding.
Oh well. let's see if we can get there. I don't know. If the mood strikes.
We'll get there.
But we're here with you live right now. I think. It looks like we are, at least.
Yeah,
Hello.
it's running.
And we're here to talk to you about Fear the Walking Dead's mid-season premiere, episode 7 of its final season, titled Anton. That's not going to get any laughs? Okay, fine. As you may already tell, I don't think any of us want to be here right now for various reasons.
Yeah, for differing reasons.
For very differing
All
reasons, which
different.
is a good thing because honestly, and I had a thought on this yesterday we were going to actually go live yesterday, but then I just wasn't feeling up for it. And it allowed us to, hey, Sharon D, you're here. Hello, where is everybody?
Mario.
Oh, look at that
What?
Mario.
Hello.
The Croat.
Carranza.
Carranza.
Oh, hey, David Carranza.
I'm gonna duck out real quick and change my name. I'll be right back.
Okay, let's do that. And in the meantime, yeah, for various reasons, I thought it was very valuable to think about this for a little while, knowing that Sharon D, first of all, even before we even watched the episode, Sharon D was going to be spicy about it no matter what was going to happen, because there was going to be a return to kind of like the old Fear in a sense, but with new characters and stuff like that. So I had a feeling, but I thought about it, and I thought, I'm so glad that we are who we are because we offer different points of view and we don't all think the same way. And we all see something that the other might have missed. And in a way, even if we don't agree, the best part about it is that we all bring something to the table and we can all disagree. And I think that makes a bigger show because then there's always somebody out there that may agree with one person or the other. And that we don't all have to be on the same team on this one too. But let me also pause your uploads now that you've come back. Oh,
Hey, Walani.
I got zapped by your buzzies.
Hey, Wilani.
And I got zapped
What?
again. Hey, Jason Cohn. Hey, Walani.
Cohn. Hey.
Okay. So,
Hi, Jason.
as is usual, and as we were talking about Fear, and hey, by the way, you should consider looking at our blog now that The Walking Dead Daryl Dixon has finished. All our blogs have been published, and what's great about the blog is that you get to see some of the research materials that we've been using. Some of the song lyrics, some of the embedded videos, the music videos that were played during the episode that we talked about, and even animated GIFs. Right, Bridget?
What's a Jeff?
He's talking about peanut butter again. It's so weird that he always does
Yeah.
that.
Ugh. Peanut butter's gross.
So you should check out our blog because it has lots of peanut butter. Anyway. Oh, and hey,
Are you playing defense this episode?
well, if you're
Is that what I
on
heard?
if you're on YouTube, by the way, and you're seeing the logo that's just above my head, that is going to be the new logo design for our Fear the Walking Dead Season 8B shirts, mugs, etc. It's that nice highlighter yellow from the key art. Wait, it's this way, actually. It's this way. And so if you want to just look out for our social media promoting that plus other things. We haven't really posted the merch for our Walking Dead Daryl Dixon on the internet, I don't think, if I'm not mistaken. So look out for that at some point. I will do it at the time when there's a sale, an actual sale going on, so that you can grab your hands on that. In the meantime, we're going to be working on the art for this part of the season. We do have a design up for sale from the first half of the season where it was all about the birds. And so there was a bird theme going on there. And so, and a marsh, as is usual. So check that out. In the
I
meantime,
want the I really want the Carol walking the Walker Daryl shirt.
I'm surprised.
I
It's
really
so
want
great.
that.
Hey,
It's so
fill out
great.
the form, and if you're a Survivors and Whispers tier member, you get 50% off in the merch store. So consider filling that out. You can sign up for that merch in the Ko-fi shop actually. And if you're a Whispers and Survivors tier member, you can get to that shop item at ko-fi.com/squawking dead. Head to the shop and you'll see it under exclusives. And it's just a form. It's just a link to the form. And if you're a member, you'll be able to get to that form for free. And everybody, hey, oh, and my wife actually, before we got on, she's like, hey, I really like the way this looks. This is our Fear the Walking Dead Season 6 design. And I'm wearing the Fear the Walking Dead Season 6 hat that you can't get. But you can get this shirt. And this is the old style. We re-uploaded this design, this Fear the Walking Dead 6 design with a new font, the We Are Squawking Dead font. So you can grab that. And in this sage color too, which matches very well with this shirt. I'm touching my boobs. I know Rachel's like, oh, why is he touching his boobs? I don't know, man. Listen,
Lois
Hi,
says
Lois.
she needs some shorts. So
she mentioned that once, and you know what?
make her some shorts. You know what? Do them like Juicy Couture style, and it just says Squawking Dead on your cheeks.
It just says
I was
squawking.
thinking the same thing.
It should just say squawking.
Yeah, no, the
leave
one-
dead part off.
It says
Or just
squawky.
squawk. It sounds like a
yeah, the one side will
sounds
say
like a
squawk.
Body, it sounds like a body function. Squawk.
Anyway,
I like it.
let's move on to first impressions. We had to ruin it somehow. And it wasn't me this time. So I'd like to start off. So here's what I'd like to do for this episode, considering a lot. And I'm sure that we all have a lot to say, but I think it might pay to get a lot of the poison out. So we can maybe touch on things that may have some sort of redeeming quality. And to that end, I say, Sharondy, what were your first impressions of this episode? Oh yeah, we have
Well,
hoodies,
as-
Jason, by the way.
As you know, Dave, I stopped watching about 30 minutes into it. Like I just turned it off.
The first
I
watch.
was like, yeah. I was like, what? I can't even with this. What? So I had mentioned this to Dave, and he's like, just keep watching. You might like it a little bit better. Which by that he meant June shows up. I'm sure.
Yeah, that's all I meant. That's all I
Right,
meant, literally.
but even like my complaint at the beginning of the season was they started it with just two people, and then maybe they heard me because this time they made sure everybody was in it, even if it was only for 5 seconds. Everybody had one line.
Did June even
so, I
have a
mean, like,
line? I think.
June
Yeah.
said don't
Yeah.
move or stop or something like that. Like
Oh, that's what
and
her
Sherry
action
said,
figure should
hold
say.
it. Yeah, like so I like the loop that they're showing. I like the callbacks to the tower and to some other things.
Oh,
like,
yeah.
there were callbacks to a lot of things,
Which
in
we'll
this
talk
episode,
about. You and
I
me both
did
saw
enjoy
that.
Right. I did enjoy that aspect of it. You know, Strand and Madison are not my favorite characters. Like, Madison is not my. I
You-
don't even want to say not my favorite. I despise Madison, especially after this episode. Like, I despise her so much. I want to just reach through the screen and throttle her. Like, I hate her. I hate her. I hate her so much. And it has nothing to do with stuff that happened before. This is based on this season mainly. Okay.
Uh-huh. Right. Which you have a nice little prop to.
Okay, aside from June showing up, the best part of this episode was Troy.
Hmm.
I dig Troy. I was like, yeah, I like him a lot. He's
Well, and
funny.
And you never got up to the point where you saw him in.
No, I
season
never
3.
saw him in the original.
I think
in
you
the
would have
original
liked
three, because-
that, actually, now that I'm thinking about it.
Yeah, I was
Old
like,
Troy?
yeah,
Yeah.
Madison. I was like, he's funny. Like, I admit my eyesight isn't what it used to be. You know, like it was so funny. And then Daniel's line when Strand said, "Thank you, old friends," he says, "We're not friends." That legitimately made me laugh out loud when I watched it through the
I
first
completely missed it, too.
time.
Oh.
It was so good. It was so
I
good.
feel like Daniel has said that to him before. Maybe
So
even a couple of
it
times
was so
before, yeah.
funny.
Yeah.
Thank you, old friend. We're not friends. Okay.
We're not friends.
But
No.
I still have the same issue that I had at the first half of the season. Who is writing this? Like,
So
is it 5-year-olds on
AI.
on right? Is it AI? Is it 5-year-olds on Benadryl or something? Like,
well, let me remind
who
you
is writing this?
what we had said. I think it was at the mid-season finale, which was so at first it was I think it was Jacob Pinion and all of them in the writers' room, but Andrew and Ian actually wrote the last half of this season. Now, can we address this one bit though? Because I had thought about this and I'm not really sure what to make of it, because we had said something similar to this in the first half, which was it seems as though they had a vision and maybe that vision was cut short, considering the run that they thought they may have had, but then they cut it short. So they had to kind of scrape together what
It's
was left.
very much giving
I'm not-
beginning of it's giving
Of
beginning of season 11.
11 of The Walking Dead,
I
right?
am not talking about the story arc or anything like that. I am talking about dialogue.
I think that affects everything, though.
It's the same. It's the same thing that we said last season.
Yeah.
Show, don't tell.
I agree.
They
I agree.
explain everything to us like we're idiots. Like, you do not have to tell me that. I figured it out on my own.
I wish that they actually showed us some of this stuff too.
It's very annoying.
Do you know what they did this? And I thought about this actually too. And tell me if you agree. For some of you who were invested in seasons 1 through 3, the fact that we didn't get the dam incident, the fact that we didn't know what happened after the dam incident, we didn't know what happened to Madison after, and they said they would tell us what happened to Madison after the stadium burned down. Things like that, and going back to that, it's emblematic. All of the season has been emblematic of that. Of just this lack of just this, okay, we're going to retread by way of dialogue things that happened that we didn't see. And then you're going to expect us to be okay with that. Well, there's only so much okay we can be okay with, right?
Speaking of that, we did get a wrap up on the people that we were missing. They didn't bother to mention them by name.
So can we
They
hit
didn't
on
bother
that
to
too?
mention them by name.
Are you
but they did.
Are you
tell
basing
us
that
what
off of the
happened.
wiki
No, I'm
Okay.
basing that off of what Strand said.
in the episode? But he never mentioned specifics. So
He said the people that I was on the rafts with, I tried to help them and they wouldn't let me because they couldn't forgive me. And when I came back from trying to find food, they were all dead and walkers.
Right.
And he was
Like
on
them.
the rafts with them. Right. So some of them went to Padre, the other ones went with him. So who's left? Obviously, Sarah and Wendell didn't go with Padre. They were with Strand, and so they're dead. They're all dead, and they didn't bother to mention them by name. They just are like, here, everybody's complaining because we didn't say anything about Mo Collins or Daryl Chill Mitchell. So here, they're dead. they're dead.
Well, so
you
based
go.
on, based on
Rabbi
that
and
vague
Charlie
language,
and-
they've already updated the wiki for that Walking Dead fandom wiki sort of thing,
Mhm.
right? I
Yeah.
know that Takira put a screenshot up in one of the groups. Actually, Linda Jennings from, was it the Walking Dead, Fear the Walking Dead? I forget what her group is actually, but I'll put it in the blog. But she had posted the screenshot of the wiki based on those words alone. And I'm not sure how to feel about it, because if no names are specified, they're confirming that specific characters like Rabbi Kessner, like Sarah, like Wendell, are confirmed
Charlie.
deceased. And that bothers me because a wiki is made by fans. It's not made by the show. And I know that sounds very naive of me, but I'm very evidence-based. And even if he says those people that ended up washing ashore with me died, there were a whole bunch more people than just Sarah and Wendell and etc. But okay, why don't
But
we go
he
to this?
Specifically
We also know
said,
Victor's a huge liar.
But he
so-
also, but why would he lie about that? They didn't know those people. He specifically said some went to Padre, some went with me.
Washed
were on
with
the
him, yeah.
rafts.
But
Washed
do you
up
think
with him.
that is the sum total of the entire group? That's the thing.
I think he's talking about our people.
Oh boy.
They finally they heard us complaining about not saying anything, so they just threw it out there. Here you go. There.
Bridget, what do you
Suck it,
think?
guys.
She's like because she's looking at the chat and she's like, Thomas, Dave, stop ignoring me. I'm like, So
I'm
we're
looking
having
at
a,
the chat.
we're having you're
I'm looking at
interrupting.
the
We're,
chat.
we're having a conversation right now, Thomas. Okay, let's see. All right.
I'm sorry. Eric just asked if I was drinking out of a boo bucket.
Yes, she's drinking out a
Which I'm
casino
not.
bucket.
I'm not. This is a casino bucket, but I have boo buckets right behind me. And I was just telling Travis earlier today that I have to go to McDonald's tomorrow because they have a new vampire one and I need it.
You know what you should get, Bridget? You should get one of those Patriot Supply buckets and drink out of that. You know those big slop buckets
I
of
yeah,
mac and
I
cheese.
do have. I have one of the small ones, Dave. I have one of the small
I know you do. I had a feeling.
I'm a prepper, Dave.
This makes the joke
Clearly,
very.
I have one.
Anyway, all right. So we got your first impression and then some. Let's turn it to Bridget, because
Yes.
as someone who is a huge fan, well, I mean, and Rachel, I think you were a fan of seasons 1 through 3 as well, right? If I'm not mistaken. Except for Madison, I
watched
know,
them.
but I love my girl Alicia. But anyway,
I watched them.
I watched them. All right, hey Bridget. So hey, in terms of
I was a fan. I was a fan
Of this
I
episode?
Was a fan, specifically of specific characters, and they weren't necessarily Madison because she's always been really self-sabotaging, that's a hard quality for me to look past. It's the downfall of a lot of television shows, I feel, and sometimes it makes it hard to kind of look. I don't know, that quality is just like it's not attractive when it's in a person that you know, and then when it's someone that you're like watching voluntarily every week, even more so, right? So
you're supposed to root for them, and yet you find it hard.
yeah, and then you're
to-
like, but why am I rooting for you? Like, why do you keep making these stupid decisions? So I did not love it. I didn't hate it. I'm somewhere in between. I'm somewhere in the middle. It feels like it was like a fever dream, but to be fair, I've been sick endlessly for days. So like maybe
It's
it was
relative.
Uh,
So it was just right. No, okay.
yeah. I was so happy to see Strand. So happy to see Strand. Coleman, I felt like really knocked out of the park in this episode. There was some really solid acting from him.
I will agree with that. Like, usually I really detest Strand, but I actually kind of, I mean, I was
you feel
pulling for him
something?
in this episode.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
found
I
I
felt
found
something
it
for
all
him in this
very
episode.
endearing. Like
Part of the reason I'm so disgusted with Madison in this episode is for the way she was treating Strand.
yes.
Damn you,
that
Madison,
was-
for making me a Strand apologist. I mean, come on.
I've always liked Strand, even though he's, done people dirty, and he's the character that I like rooting for, even though he is always doing the wrong thing. It's different than the self-sabotaging because he's a con man.
What do you
So
expect?
it's different.
It's the
Uh,
it's the bigotry of low expectations, Bridget.
So I like it. Anyway, I've always loved Strand, so I was excited to see him. Weirdly, I wasn't excited for Troy to come back. I was very vocal about how angry I was about this choice. But talk about chewing the scenery in these scenes.
It's like he didn't have to do anything, and
He's-
yet he did.
He
He's
hammed
like-
it up so hard. It was so good.
Well, it's like the mini-headed Hydra. They cut the head off of Strand and Troy popped up in his place.
It was so good.
Well, Jenny, they cut the head off of Jenny and then Strand popped up in his place, and they cut the head off Strand and Troy popped up in his place.
It was really good.
I lost
it
the
was better
thread
than
there.
I expected.
somewhere.
It was better than I expected. So I am left feeling disappointed in certain things, and we can get to that as we talk about it. I'm sure the things I've been disappointed in will come up. I think there was just some generally weird stuff in this episode that I'm sure will come up. But
Yeah.
I was so excited to see Coleman that I'm like, well,
It all can be
Worth it.
forgiven.
worth it. Also, Frank, whew,
Oh,
that is a good looking man.
And he didn't die.
I was
You
not
know,
mad.
were
We
you
got a
thinking that along the
character on
way?
and learned their name, and he didn't die.
I know. And the community didn't completely fall apart. Like,
No, but they are making the
I mean, they're
move.
leaving.
They are moving
but...
to the Padre. So
Everybody clapping emojis for the community's not falling, people not dying. Every episode since the top of season 7, essentially.
I know that people
Right?
are upset about. I know that people are upset about. I just want to address this really quickly because I just saw Walani's comment. Troy's live, everyone else is dead. Not liking that. I know that you guys are upset about this. We have known this for a while, so I've
Yeah.
had time to process all of this about like these characters not coming back. This this was shared with us. It was shared with a lot of people actually at a convention that we
Well, yeah.
attended.
The
And
beans were spilled, and if you want to watch that, you can
beans,
actually watch
big
that
beans
panel
were spilled. Big beans were spilled
with Mo
and
Collins. Wink,
yes.
wink.
And so I've had a lot of time to like kind of process through that. Don't get me wrong. Like I was furious. We all were when that was confirmed. And I think we kind of left it hoping maybe maybe it's like they're just unconfirmed. Like they're out there somewhere. And I was okay. I'd resigned myself to that. So I'm going to still stand by that. I don't care what these idiots said. I don't care what this one-off line is. We're not doing that. They're alive. They're somewhere out there. That's my headcanon, and that is the world of delusion I'm gonna live in. So
Yeah, we saw Sarah in the Walking Dead Daryl Dixon.
On Daryl's, yeah.
If you look at the blog, I did post a screenshot of the shot of the
Oh,
woman
you
that
found
you
the girl I was talking about.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I posted it in the blog.
Right?
There's a little clip of it's not her. I actually clipped out the one clip of her really not looking like her, like Sarah.
But it looks enough like her where I was like, huh?
Initially, because all you see is a drape of hair, blonde
And
hair.
the same color hat.
It's not the same
coulda
color
made it
hat
there.
though. That's the
She
thing.
could have made it there.
It's very similar.
It was like a
It's
greenish,
very similar.
khaki-ish hat. That's
No,
like a
no,
green.
it was pink.
No, it was
No,
green.
the girl I saw had like a faded burgundy. hat.
Just look at the blog. You'll see it, and you confirm with me that that's the right one because
Maybe
I think it is.
maybe you saw a different.
Listen, we want to
saw a
see her,
different
and
girl.
this is me. I'm acknowledging that I want to see her.
Maybe my brain's just like, no, it's the right color.
Well, before we get
Thomas-
to your first impressions, though,
Thomas said,
yeah.
Troy being alive is dumb. No way he would have survived the hammer and a damn explosion. And why did getting hit in the head turn his eye blue? Did it like drain the color out of the iris or something? How did that happen?
Who says it's a
Same.
real
Father
eye?
Gabriel moment for him.
it's
you know?
Well,
Probably-
it's
It looks like a glass eye.
glass eyes don't move. When he looks from side to side,
It's
a
true.
glass eye wouldn't move.
I wish
His
that
eye
was
is
the
moving.
case. That would have been even cooler, actually. Okay, so, but before we get to first impressions, I wanted to say something, and it was, oh, man, I forgot, man. This is what, see, now we can't. David, what are you doing, David? I don't know. All right. Rachel, what are your first impressions of this episode?
Pass.
Pass.
Oh, pass.
Well,
Hated it.
hated it. So I remember
Three snaps up.
I remember what I wanted to say actually, and it was I'm not the kind of person who's quick to anger. So I remember when the feeling that that Sarah / Mo would not be back on the show, that when that first came up, I was kind of like, okay, maybe not. Okay, I don't know. How do I feel about this? Will the story be good still? And then we found out the story wasn't the best. And then we come here, and then we get this episode. And I'm going to say, I don't dislike this episode. I did like seeing Victor and Madison reunite, because it was one of the things I really wanted to see eventually. And I like that they also didn't give me what I wanted, which was a tearful reunion, a bit of that, but not really.
Yeah, Madison and Alicia reunited too,
Well-
hand in hand.
Oh, you dirty
Yikes,
dog.
what a dirty bitch. Anyways.
Oh my gosh.
Cue the
I got a whole thing about that too.
so
Oh my gosh.
but over time I've actually gotten a little bit more angry, and because of that line in this episode, sneaky bitch. So, and because of that line in the episode of oh, all of them died, and then it's almost as if I don't know who is behind. And look, all of these episodes are in the can anyway, so there's like, okay, it's not as if they could have taken our reactions from the first half and said, well, maybe we shouldn't put this scene in the show. Maybe it would be better to not say anything at all, so that in our head canon, as Bridget would say most often, we could say, oh, Sarah drifted on with Wendell somewhere else. But now it's almost as if like it's like, deal with it. Your favorite characters died for nothing. Deal with it. And I'm having a problem with that. And I don't know how I'm going to be able to deal with it.
Well, it's like they're
See, my
they're
problem
like
isn't even storyline wise. I'm just pissed what they did to my friend. Like I'm
See,
pissed
I'm
with person.
see,
Like
and I'm taking it the
throwing
other
story
way.
out of it.
I'm
Yeah.
throwing it in the story. That's
I want to
just
say
doesn't make
what
sense.
G. Wilson said in the chat because I thought this was a really good way to put this. I
Okay.
understand some characters not trusting Strand, but it feels like the characters who died off screen basically chose death in a sense when they could have made it at least a day longer. And that is when you simplify it to that one line, it makes everything seem so meaningless.
They
Like
would rather
you
die
hate
than take
you hate
Strand's help.
Strand that much. Like I get he's a con man and he has conned people over and over and over again. Some of you only interacted with him for like a brief time. It's not like you got 8 seasons of him like we did.
Mm-hmm.
You know, they don't have all of that exposure like we do. They have very little exposure to him. So I don't understand why, if it comes down to dying or taking something from someone that has been like a huge annoyance and enemy to me, like I'm probably going to take the thing for my enemy and then be like,
I mean, I just feel
thanks.
like it's just another instance of bad writing. Like they were like, fine, you guys want to know what happened to him? Here, take that, suck on it. This is what you get.
That's kind of what I'm saying. Is like, okay,
I
Are
also
they
and I don't like
suddenly
that.
me?
it's just narratively,
Huh?
it's just kind of an insult, isn't it?
I also don't know how much I really believe Strand. I mean, honestly, like I don't trust anything he says.
But I don't feel why I don't understand.
Why would he
I don't
lie?
think he would lie about that.
Yeah.
to make himself feel better. Like I tried to save them.
So this is gonna go,
Maybe,
this is gonna
but
go to my next
did you-
point. My next point is gonna be, it's so easy, and I didn't realize it until I'd finished watching the first time. Oh yeah, it's been 7 years, and that's a long time.
Mm-hmm.
And even more so, I don't think Victor has even seen Troy for at least 9, if not more years, too. Why don't you say what he's saying that you're not
I
listening?
don't. I do want to point out something
you
Thomas
said
said earlier, which is Denai Garcia is the
Yes.
director. of
Directed this episode.
And you know, I had
Yes.
no issue.
Directed the hell out of it.
Yeah, the direction was fine. The acting,
Yep.
mostly,
It's
was fine.
It's the script.
It's the writing.
Yeah.
It's the writing. It's all the writing. Everybody on the crew did a great job. The
They did the
the
best
walkers
with
were
what they
great.
had.
Yeah, everything was great except the dialogue and the script itself.
Yeah, this was going to also be my point too, is that what I was trying to say before about, did they know how many episodes they were going to get? Did they know exactly when the mid-season was going to be? Because when we came back, okay, look, admittedly, seeing Victor again, great. Seeing Victor and Madison reunite, great. And then they do the twist. But then that's all, I mean, between that and then the Troy thing, and then seeing Daniel a little bit, that was kind of cool. But beyond that, it's like I think we said this about the first episode of this season. You want to start off with a bang. And like for your mid-season break, coming back from the mid-season break of the final episodes, you want all your episodes to be a
That's
bang.
what Strand said.
Yeah. Well, wouldn't you though? Wouldn't you?
I agree with
Funk?
Lois says, I feel like they have just thrown the ending together and they really don't care. That's exactly how I feel.
I honestly
Like,
felt that way.
They are like, we don't give a crap about this show anymore. So just throw some shit on the page and they'll take it. They'll watch it. And that's it.
Well, and then
It's ending anyway. Why do we care? Just throw it away.
Yeah. So
Especially in
Good Game of
comparison with
Thronesing
Daryl
it.
Dixon. Especially in comparison with Daryl Dixon. Same universe. Why is that show so much better than Fear?
oh,
Why?
Don't make me answer that question.
I mean,
it's
but
too
that's what I'm
much.
saying.
It's
That's what
too
I'm saying
much.
is like they just didn't. They don't care. They don't care about fear. So they just like throw. Here, just do it. Get it out of here. Be done with it. I am angry at the disparity in quality between the shows because it doesn't have to be that way.
Yeah, and it's one thing if a show has a different quality or a different feel to it, and that's valid. But and obviously they're being consistent, even though it's consistently not great. So even I'm admitting it. But I will say, I did like some of the scenes that were in the at least the upcoming episodes, or at least the next episode. I don't know exactly what we saw at the end of the episode. I know some of you don't watch it. I'm not going to say what it is for those of you who don't want to know what it is. So you're welcome. But and we've seen the teaser. Oh, well, some of us have seen the teaser leading into the season, and I like what I saw. It's looking pretty cool what they're trying to develop. So I'm doing my best here to reserve judgment for the rest of the season, even though just like you when I was watching this episode, I was like, oh, they really look like they're. I mean, aside from a couple of things, they're really kind of phoning it in, aren't they? They're
Yeah,
kind of,
they are.
and they're
And I'm
leaving
not
off the
talking about
hook.
the actors. Like Bridget said, Coleman was fantastic.
Yeah,
He
Yeah,
was
Coleman knocked it out.
fantastic. And
Hmm.
I mean, everybody in the little bit that they had, except for one person,
who would that
everybody was
be? No,
great.
okay, it's fine. It's fine.
One block of wood we won't mention by name.
It's fine. We all know who you're talking about. Okay, so let's read a couple of comments before we continue. Okay, so G. Wilson's also says Madison and Nick were staying with the Ottos the whole season, even though Travis's death was caused by their beef with Taka's people, but somehow people don't want to deal with Strand. It's weird. Yeah, exactly. Well, and okay, so I want to hit on that one a little bit because it looks like I'll give this episode one thing, and it's that at least the people that we're talking about, and it's acknowledged in the show via dialogue again, that Madison and Strand, they're really, at least they did this, and they when they put Madison and Strand together, they acknowledged that, well, we're really just two people looking at the same mirror and noticing the similarity in between each other. But Troy isn't that much different from that. And so they're all looking at the same mirror. It's like that Spider-Man meme where they're all kind of pointing at each other and they're all Spider-Man. So I liked that part of it. And so to G. Wilson's comment, there's something to your comment in that, well, yeah, that's obvious because they're all in a way acknowledging the sameness in each other. And that sameness is in a way caca. Okay, so Thomas says, let me just say it. If Strand had said, quote unquote, take that suck on it, end quote, it would have had a completely different meaning. You should watch what you say on this show. I'll read it.
You tried to say that so monotone.
I got so excited because it was Franck.
quote unquote, unquote.
Lois says, I feel like they
unquote.
just throw the ending together and they really just don't care. Thomas says, except the recycled footage. G. Wilson says, denies now the fifth actor from the show to direct an episode behind Coleman, Lenny, Aisha Tyler, and Alicia Debnam Carey from last season. G. Wilson says, I love your character so much, but I feel like they've been set up even before the crossover happened for some reason. Look at how distant. Well, and that's true, by the way. We heard about Lenny's crossover, I think, at the beginning of the season of season 8. So we knew that he was going to be crossing over from that first episode of season 8, around then. And look at how distant they feel compared to everybody else. Yeah. And that's, you know what? Yeah, and I'm hoping this end of this last half of the season at least resolves that part, and I think they might. Coleman was fired, Jason Cohn says on Facebook. David Carranza, that whisper. David Carranza says, talking about going off with a bang, Carranza says, that was a whisper, not a bang. And then melting head at face emoji. Coleman saved it for me, Carranza said, though. And Thomas is saying over and over again, I've got exclusive limited edition Invincible pins for sale. That's getting it edited out of the audio podcast.
So, one thing I noticed,
Okay.
that Strand and Frank are almost like Carol and Zeke. with finding a son and raising him together. And Strand would be, I guess, the Carol, right? He had this terrible past where he fucked people over,
Accurate.
Well, that
and
is Frank's son, though, right? Klaus is
yes,
his
Yes,
it
son.
is.
yes,
Yeah,
yes.
yeah,
Yeah.
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 I also want to say that Frank is a much better pairing for Strand than Cole was.
I was thinking
Oh,
about
yeah.
Cole too.
Yeah.
Yeah, he does
Mhm.
resemble Cole a little bit.
I wanna say something.
Uh-oh.
Okay. Well, I
Is
wanted
it
to say
cotton
something
picking, or-
nice because
Okay.
it's. Oh, shut up. I wanted to say something nice about this episode before I just go off the rails with my how much I want to burn wood.
Well, that's the goal,
Um,
right?
I
Somebody's phone, by the way, is next to
I
their mic, and it might be mine. I don't know.
it's not mine. Mine's way over.
Okay.
I felt the whole time until Madison came and screwed everything up. I felt, oh, there's the bitch now. I felt like I felt like Victor was being completely genuine. I felt absolute
I agree.
genuineness from him. Like, I think he
He
was really happy. He was really doing something
he
here
was doing what he really wanted to do at the tower.
at the
He just
tower.
didn't-
Yes.
But
he
a
just didn't
negative
know how to
image.
do
He
it.
did it the right way.
Right,
He did
right.
it the right way this time.
Well, because it wasn't,
Yep.
because to Madison's point, it wasn't about me, or it wasn't about, whereas the tower was all about him. And it didn't matter the type of people, the quality of people he took in. It was all about what he wanted, and there was no specific purpose
Yeah.
other than,
But he
Are-
did it right this time.
well, yeah, I mean, but you realize because it wasn't about him, and he was trying to bury himself, his past, himself, along with all the other dead
Yeah.
people. So it was
He
just,
recognized that the man he used to be is terrible,
And
he was
yet-
trying to leave that in the past.
and yet something
And
something
yet what?
something I
He-
found interesting.
He was trying to get Madison TF out of there before
Yes.
she burned the place down.
But-
like, he knew. No,
Well,
he
you-
did the right thing. I
Yeah.
fully support. I fully support him trying to hand her over.
Well, no, but before you say that, before we no, we find out a little later on in the episode. So I find this a question that might be interesting to answer, is that the person who said everybody deserves a second chance, the line that everybody keeps repeating, was Victor's.
Mm-hmm.
It was also Althea's.
Mm-hmm.
Was it? When did she say that?
Because in 408, when she gave Madison the second chance, yeah, that was Althea's thing.
Interesting. Well, but even still,
Madison's just ripping lines off everybody,
well, no, Victor, technically.
panning it as her own. Well,
But-
she heard it from Al too.
But
I like the sound of that. I'm gonna take it.
I'm saying this to make a point, though. It's very interesting that Victor sneaks this line in, because like, this is to your point. He's great. He's buried himself. He's trying to be a better version of himself, et cetera, et cetera. But in a way, Victor being Victor, saying everybody deserves a set. It's almost as if he's planted a seed. Like, he's trying to plant the seed of his own redemption with these new people in case they find out later on down the line. But it's like, oh, it's already too late. You know, you've grown up with them. You know how much he cares about you and loves you, et cetera, et cetera. And so in case they find out, everybody deserves it. He's just subliminally told people for 7 years, well, this is all a place about second chances. And in case they find out, well, you know, maybe they'll forgive me as well.
He's been with these people. He's known these people and been with these people longer than he's known Madison.
Uh-huh. And here's the thing.
That's true.
Had Madison woken up and been like, "Oh, you're Vicar Strand," and then he said, "No, I'm not," and then she had just been like, "Oh, let me sit back and see what's going on," instead
Yeah.
of blowing his spot,
Yep.
talking crap to his kid about him. You don't know your
Oh.
dad. I was like, shut up.
Yeah, like, why are
I
you
wouldn't want your ass there either. Get her the hell out of here.
why are you so
Karen?
intent on
Yep.
ruining this? Right.
I don't
Like-
know. That really bothered me. That really,
Like,
really bothered me
shut
because
up.
they were friends once upon a time. So for her to know Because does she really know the stuff that happened between Strand and Alicia? I don't know that she does.
So that's the only thing that bothers me about this episode,
So
because that's what I wrote
why?
down. She knows what happened to at the tower because of Morgan.
It doesn't seem like it though, because she
Right.
doesn't put that together like at the end, like further
Hi,
towards the
Chris.
end of the episode. But
Hi, Chris.
that really, it bugged me.
So that's the
like,
only thing that really
it just,
bugged me.
It just goes to show that she's not a good friend.
No, that was why I was so mad. I mean, when she was talking smack about Strand, I don't care who you are. I mean, sit back and see what's going on before you start blowing somebody's spot. You have no idea what's going on here.
Well, that's the only
You don't
reason
know
why. That's the only reason
why,
why.
and why is she so angry? Why is she so mad at him?
So yeah,
Like, she is hostile.
so there's an answer
Yeah.
to that. But before we, so to Bridget's point, I actually thought the same thing too, and I thought in my head as I was watching this, okay, the reason why she's like this is because she knows what happened at the tower, because of Morgan and dealing with him and finding out from him, and oh yeah, so she's like, well, she's gonna ruin this place too, just like he ruined the tower for everybody else, or whatever, ruined everybody's lives for that. But then you find out, like you said, at the end, she didn't really know that much, and he was explaining
so it's
to her
almost
at the
just
end.
like, oh, well, this guy's been a con man before, and I assume that even though I haven't seen him in many, many, many years, that he is no different than the man that he was all that time ago at the beginning of the end of the world, when we were all acting crazy and for ourselves because we don't know any better because we're human.
So
That would have been like Daryl coming to Henry and being like, "Yo, your mom murders a bunch of people. You don't know who she is. You don't know shit about your mom. You don't know about your
Hey,
dad. You don't know
language.
what the hell he's like. What? It was just the worst.
Nobody.
I was so
Yeah.
angry. I was so angry,
No,
and
So here's what they didn't do well.
no one wants to be judged and remembered for the worst decision they ever made.
Well, who
And
does
that's
that?
what Madison's doing. She's like holding everything over Victor's head that he ever did in the past and not taking into account anything that's happened. Like she doesn't know this guy. Like I said, she hasn't seen him
and
in
she
almost a
didn't bother
decade.
to find out. She just started spouting her mouth off.
Yep.
You are Victor Strand. You are Victor Strand. No, I'm not. Yes, you are. No, I'm not. Yes, you
Are we
are.
gonna sing a
Like,
song? No, I'm not. Yes, you are. No, I'm not. That would be anyway. But so, well, this is why I actually asked why I bothered to ask the same question about Quinn after every episode, because, and that was 12 years, too. So like, it's possible for somebody to reinvent themselves in 12 years.
I mean, he didn't, because he
I-
used his child to get to a woman. so,
Disagree.
but still.
Yeah, that's true.
I,
That's true.
I want.
But
I
he
want-
regretted it, Bridget. He slipped. Listen, he had
I
a.
wanna
think
know
he regretted
why-
getting caught, but it's
Yeah, right.
it's fine.
It's true. It's true. I
He,
think so too.
he regretted getting his hand chopped off and bitten by a walker. That was it.
Anyway,
I want to know why everybody automatically believes everything Madison says and sides with her. Right? Everybody, as soon as she speaks, everybody believes everything she says. Oh, she's telling the truth. We have to be on her side. Why does everyone automatically believe her? So she's telling.
that's easy. but yeah.
Wait a minute. She tells. I wrote this down. Klaus says, maybe you're not to Strand. He says this to Strand. Maybe you're not who I thought you were.
Right.
And I was like, Strand, maybe you don't know who she is. Like, you're
Right.
believing everything she says. You've known me as your dad all these years. This woman shows up for an hour, and all of a sudden you believe everything she's saying about me.
Well, they already sort
You
of
don't know
explained
who
that,
this
though.
woman is.
Teenagers, but
But see, that's the thing. That's the folly of Victor planting that seed of second chances for 7 years. Is that, and this is something
Thomas,
you're
sorry.
talking about this. He doesn't deserve a second chance. But that's the folly of him planting that seed of second chances all these years, because you'll notice that, and this is something that I have a problem with as well, is that this community has welcomed ever since I'm assuming ever since Strand came, because he's the one who planted the idea. He specifically was the one who planted the idea of second chances with this community, and ever since then, you see, and this is the one thing that I really liked about this episode. You learned so much by how they treated the old man who had the infection on his arm. And again, it's like the negative tower, first of all. It's not about calling up on a phone very impersonally from far away. No, they greet him in person. They say, hey, let's get you fixed up. Let's give you something to eat. You don't have to do anything in return. And obviously his infection is clearing, which means he's been there for days so that his infection can clear up. So you learn all about how opposite this
I mean, are you
was in the
sure?
tower.
Are you sure?
What?
It
Not
could've
yet.
just been magic.
Anyway, yes, to your point, passage of time is very nebulous. But
Well, no, I mean, I'm just saying we're in the apocalypse. Maybe the medicine is stronger. Like kids age faster. Maybe the medicine works better.
right.
And that's why people can take
They're using
ciprofloxacin and
radiation.
feel better in an hour after they take it.
Anyway, that's not the point I'm trying to make. The point I'm trying to make is, didn't it occur to you at some point that how has a community like this stayed alive as long as it has? Because, and we know the Commonwealth, and I think that's an outlier though. I just feel like,
Well,
because all
I-
of the stuff that happens in this episode proves all of that wrong. That how have they not encountered a group that's
that had to be already there before Strand showed up, right? They must have already had
Sure.
some kind of because they said that they were there
He
right
said
when it
they've been there
happened, since it
yeah,
happened.
They've been
So
there the
they
whole
had to
time.
have
Mhm.
some kind of
protocol.
place already going when Strand got there. Did
Yeah,
he
yeah, yeah.
improve it? Maybe did he change it? I don't know. But I'm just saying, like there was already something there. He didn't come in and build that from scratch.
Well, it's not about. So I'm
Well,
not saying
and
this
it didn't
is.
seem like he was like any kind of leader. There was very clearly a board of people making decisions for this.
No,
place.
so forget about the Strand part. The Strand part was really just the second chances line that they keep saying over and over again because they make it a point of saying, oh, he was one who implanted in Klaus and everybody else that everybody deserves a second chance. That's all I wanted to say. But as far as this community as a whole, the thing that bothers me is that to Victor's point about you don't know these people who are on the radio, they could be dangerous. I was from an objective point of view, like we know the truth because it's Daniel, right? But objectively speaking, he's not wrong. Why are you assuming everybody on the radio, oh, they need help, so let's help them? So I was just thinking
they
about
are
that
dangerous.
Well, okay,
Yeah.
can
Not
I
wrong.
can I
That's true.
just say one thing though? Like I don't want to diminish what Strain was saying and just say that he's trying to implant this idea as a way to cover his behind. I think honestly he does believe this.
No, I think so too.
Mhm.
I think he's come to believe that he feels like I deserve a second chance. Now, I don't know that he does deserve a second chance. We've seen him time and time again take advantage of situations, but I do believe that his heart was in this. I believe that 100%. It would surprise me if this was a long con.
Well, even if the dialogue,
It really would.
the dialogue that he
Um,
uses to describe the people that died, who he was trying to help, the people that were on the rafts, he said something to the effect of, like, my name, Victor Strand, my name killed them. It was the me that they didn't want to take help from, and
He
that's.
said, "I didn't want to be Victor Strand after that."
He said I hated Victor Strand, and then I
Right.
didn't want to be Victor Strand. So,
Right.
which is to say, yeah. So, I just want to bury that part of me that is irredeemable. And now, listen, we had that question at the end of season 7. Is how are people going to? But see, here's the thing. This is the huge problem with this being the last season. Wouldn't it have been great to see that tension? Wouldn't it have been great to see how they didn't trust him? Because this is the thing we were looking forward to. How were they going to resolve this? They're like, nah.
Yeah, of
Let's
course.
just gloss. That's what I'm. I feel like we were robbed, and which is why I asked the question: could it have been that they just said, "Nah, listen, Fear, you've run the gamut. We're cutting you off." It's like season 11 of The Walking Dead. We're just going to cut you off here. You're going to have to figure this out.
They're like, "You're done."
And that's
Bye.
the best
Well,
part. That's the
The
part I
fact that
wanted to
they
see.
waited,
We
the
have
fact
well,
that they waited to announce that the final 2 episodes were going to be aired together, which
Oof.
brings me endless frustration for so many reasons because we had talked about doing a big final viewing party, but
Oh,
because it
right.
fell on Thanksgiving weekend, we were like, well, we can't. And now all of a sudden they just now announce it with 4 weeks. I would have 4 weeks to plan it. If we were
Right.
still doing that, that's not going to work.
Nah, we're not doing
And
that.
so now we lose that opportunity to spend that time, 1, together, but 2, to do something for people who have stood by this show
Right.
and have appreciated
And
this show
we still
and
are.
have stated in the last
Well-
season and a half that I am
What-
insulted by this writing and I'm insulted by what you've done with these characters because they deserve better.
yes, they do deserve better. That I mean, I, I don't know. But what you were saying about the watch party, that we should have something after the strike ends. We should have like a post-strike fear celebration, and all get together
All the good
because
times that we had on Fear.
That would be nice.
Dwight's fajitas.
twice.
Nobody knows what that is really, unless you've been watching since season 5, I think. Yeah.
Is it 5? Yeah. It was.
Dwight's
Yeah.
father. Dwight's
Oh
fajitas.
my
Anyway.
gosh. Dwight's
Um,
fajitas.
Twice
So
fajitas.
it was the
Like,
end of an episode too. It was like right at the end.
The best typo ever.
The best
'Cause
of
I was in the- I
Charity's
was in the-
typos.
I was in the chat then.
Yeah. That's when I knew. I think actually that might have been it too. But okay.
It was amazing.
So
I did have something to say. Hold
yeah, I mean
Oh,
okay, go
I
ahead.
had Klaus's haircut in the 90s.
Didn't everybody? I had it too. Wait, you did that hairstyle for one of our interviews, if I remember right. Was it Mo? Was it it was Sherry? It was Sherry. Christine Evangelista. I think it was, right? It was
I
very
didn't have it.
You did like this swoopy thing with your hair.
I don't know.
Swoopy thing.
I just used to have it. I used to have it in the ponytail in the back with it shaved all around the sides.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I had
I
long
had
hair too.
Klaus's.
I had hair.
Klaus is he's living in the 90s, or I was.
That
ahead
was a
of my
very
time.
90s look.
Yeah,
That
yeah.
was a very
Mhm.
classic 90s
Oh yeah.
look.
Oh yeah.
Thomas.
We'll say it.
Thomas said I had Anton's haircut last month. Okay.
Wait, what? This makes sense. Stop lying, Thomas. All right. Oh, you know what? And so Mariota, what is the point of introducing Sarah? Well, yeah, I know. And yeah, and again, the wiki has confirmed Rabbi Kessner, Sarah, Wendell, even Maya Vasquez, who were like, oh, Senator Vasquez's wife, and she was looking for her kid. And Dwight, the Dark Horses save her from the walkers, the radioactive. Oh, why? Stop. Candace Barley is her name. I still follow her on Instagram. She's great. Anyway. Yeah. I mean, there's symbolism here. Do you want to know what Anton's name, what the etymology of Anton's name is, by the way? Anton? Short for
Sure, Dave.
short for Antonius. It means priceless or praiseworthy. So all Victor was looking for was worth. Sad.
That's
Did
sad.
you happen to catch
Okay.
the books in the stack?
I wanted to, but do you know, Charity, to your point, I was like, I don't really care. But did you?
So, yes. The only one that really, the one that was on top was Still Life with Breadcrumbs by Anna Quindlen.
Anna who?
And
Sorry?
it's Quindlen, Anna Quindlen. So it's about a woman who was famous at some point for her photography, and as she aged, her husband's left her. She's having trouble keeping up her bills. She can't afford her apartment anymore. So she sublets her apartment and she goes to stay in a cottage out in the woods. She's not really prepared to live out there. There's like raccoons in her attic and stuff. So she calls a guy out to
Metaphorical? I'm kidding. I'm just
no. She calls a guy out to help get the raccoon out of her attic, and they end up dating and fall. It's a love story, whatever.
Aw.
But
Uh-oh.
I did take a screenshot of this.
Can you share it, actually? No, right? I'm not sure.
No, but I can send it to you later.
Okay.
This is a Quinlan's novel makes a case for seizing control of your life. Quote, people froze you in place. More important, you froze yourself, often into a person in whom you had truly no interest, she writes. So you had a choice. You could continue a masquerade or you could give up on it.
Which
I thought that was very appropriate
to Victor's to
for
right
this,
when
for Victor. Yeah.
right when Troy is about to hammer time him. He was like, I am Victor Strand.
Here, that's another thing. Okay, is everybody supposed to know? They say his name like that's Victor Strand, like he's supposed to be famous or something. And then at the end, he's like he took his spinach. I'm Victor Strand, like he's Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Strand. He's gonna just flip back and forth. He's Jamie Tart. He's Jamie Tart with the signal.
Interesting. Oh yeah, from Ted Lasso. For those who don't know.
But I'm just like, it's like he's supposed to be famous. Is that why everybody's like, that's Victor Strand? Like,
Well,
why do you
I'm
keep saying his
I
name
know.
like that? It's so
It wouldn't mean
irritating.
anything to anybody.
I'm
It's
okay
so
with that.
irritating.
And but you see, it matches like the voice intonation. He did this in season 6 as well. When he was trying, when the first time he met Howard, he's all buddy buddy with him until he saw the explosion. And he was like, "I am Victor Strand." And at the end of it,
Because he told him he
But
was
you-
Morgan first.
but you notice
Yeah,
in
he
this
did.
episode, oh right, he said he was Morgan Jones, right?
I am Morgan Jones.
It would have been great if he did an impression of him. But anyway, so but you notice at the beginning of this episode, he. By the way, and that's closer to what Coleman Domingo's voice is. The Anton voice is very soft spoken. It's like it's like it's very it's almost musical. So, but when it gets to the Victor parts,
Well,
when
it's
he's
like
talking,
Stephanie Beatriz, who played Rosa on Brooklyn Nine-Nine.
Oh,
and
yeah.
she was quiet in
real
the
voice?
first season of Twisted
Megan
Metal.
Mullally.
It's
Yeah,
insane.
her
Same.
real
Megan
voice
Mullally
is
on
insane.
it's like the other
Will
way.
and Grace.
Yeah.
Yeah.
She puts that
yeah.
on,
Yeah.
right.
Yeah.
So that's closer to Coleman's real voice. So he's in previous interviews in earlier seasons, he's talked about Strand's voice being of particular variety. He has to actually actively go to a baritone and this and do that and I'm a swinging Victor Strand, like kind of like you said, like oh wait,
You
it's-
started out strong there, David.
yeah, it sounds like you're
It got
supposed to
weird.
know him, right? That's the
Started well.
That's
the
my
point.
point. The
Right.
way they keep saying it is like, is he supposed to be
Well,
famous or something?
Dave, he's a confidence man.
That's one of the point I'm making. Yes, so that's really what it is. The voice, people saying his full name all the time. It's a whole thing. That's his
It's a vibe.
personality.
But
Thank
okay,
you.
to,
That's the
to Charity's
easier way
point
to say
here,
that.
like they keep saying his name over and over again, and the only people that have any sort of reaction are the people that already know him. Like no one in that hotel is like, "What? No, you don't see anybody whispering like, "Oh, Victor! Oh my gosh, I've heard stories about Victor Strand." Like,
Wasn't he the
nobody
guy that had that
nobody
tower in
cares.
Texas?
Yeah,
Yeah.
nobody.
Yeah,
no.
where are they even now?
I am Victor Strand. Anyway,
Okay. Can I just mention there was one thing that really irked me, and I just got to get it out of my system. Okay,
Just one.
just turn off the lanterns.
Oh my God! Thank you.
the whole entire
Thank
internet
you so
exploded
much.
about
Just
that.
turn
Yeah.
them off. Just turn them off, because guess what? They can see
Oh, I
you.
was
You're in the
screaming.
dark.
Yeah.
Surprise.
Yeah. Oh my God,
While
I was
while
screaming
they're
the whole
yelling
time.
at each other at the top of their lungs and trying to, we
You
need to
gotta
be.
put 'em down
You
quiet.
gotta
Put
put
the
them down
bodies down.
quiet.
So if you watch The Walking Dead World Beyond season 2, anyway.
Good old Felix.
What?
You want to hear something interesting though? Did you catch the name of the tour bus?
Marshfield
didn't.
tours.
No, Marsh Light.
Marsh Light tours. I
Okay.
looked it up. It's not a real thing.
No, it's not. But do you know what
No.
a marsh light is?
Yeah, it's gas coming up out of the marshes. It looks like fairy lights.
Will-o-wisps,
Oh,
right?
Yeah.
So yeah, what are will-o-wisps? They're what people refer to as marsh ghosts, etc. But what they're meant to do, right? And I wrote this down. Obviously, I read everything down. And it's atmospheric light, like you said, with gas, probably, maybe, seen over bogs and marshes that are confused for ghosts, aka ghost lights, and can often cause fishermen to lose their bearings. So I was just thinking to myself, okay, well, what if the lights actually throw people? No, I'm not making excuses for this shit. No,
It's like they
No, we're not.
in the
doing
Lord
that.
of the Rings. That's
Excuse
what
my
the dead
language.
marshes were based on. That's what the dead marshes were based on. in
Oh,
Lord of
that's
the
cool.
Rings,
I didn't know
because
that.
of the lights
the
that would come
will-o-wisps.
up out of the marshes.
The will-o-wisps. Well, and the whole point of that is that the light, they saw the light as a will. It willed the fishermen towards it because you think that's landfall. You think that's a town that's nearby. So if I keep heading for that light, it'll take me to a town or whatever. Take me back to the shore because it's so dark and that's the only light that's available. And so, but what ends up happening is they lose their bearings and they get lost, and some of them die out there in the marshes and the bogs and stuff like that. So, which I don't know what that means for this episode. But I mean, it does say something about the German tourists who end up stuck, right? You're in a bog, you get stuck, and there's
Yeah.
there's nowhere else to go. So
They're
there's
also
that.
in Savannah and the marshes. So
Yeah. Wait, so
Yeah. I did I did like that the bus that was like kind of a nod back to season 2,
Oh, keep going. Okay.
season 3ish, of Fear, where there is a bus entry into a community. It's a community that Nick goes to.
Oh,
It's where he meets
Colonia,
Luciana. Yeah.
the
Oh,
school bus. Yeah.
Colonia, yeah.
Yeah,
Oh,
so I
and
thought
and
that was really cool because the way that they walk in the back and come through the side is exactly the same way. And the walkers were on one side, and that was how they defended their community. It's
I
the
don't
same
know.
thing. It was really interesting to see that. Plus, the hotel looked very similar, in my opinion, to the hotel in that season as well in Mexico. So
I
there
almost
was a
thought it
lot of
was.
like
Yeah.
kind of, I
But then
did
I'm like,
too at first. I
not
was like,
possible.
that's weird. Why would he go back
Yeah.
there? But yeah, it was just, I think it was just meant to be like reminiscent
A little
of
nod
all of that kind of
to those.
stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Here's a question. Why German? Was that does Coleman speak German? They're like, let's just showcase this for him or something. Like, why?
I don't know,
It
maybe.
didn't. It served no purpose to the story so far.
Oh, I thought it was
It
interesting,
was something different. It was something we haven't seen before.
especially
In
coming
tour-
off of.
I mean, imagine being a tourist. You're in a foreign country and you get stranded here forever. Like that would be extra terrifying for these people.
It's a
I
great
think.
creative premise, at least. Just throw out there, spaghetti
Yeah.
on the wall.
I
Well, it
just
would be
I just wondered if
realistic,
anybody had.
too.
I just wondered if anybody had any ideas why they. Because it could have been any any tourist or
Yeah, it could have been.
nationality.
True.
They could have been
True.
from any country. Yeah.
Yeah.
Right. And you know
Maybe-
what?
maybe
Soccer,
Coleman
they felt
does
like the
speak
soccer
German.
was just really pivotal.
There's
So
something
that-
there's something great about coming just right off of the first season of The Walking Dead, Daryl Dixon, where everybody spoke French, and then going into
They're
this
like, well,
with
we
German.
can't use France, so
Damn it! I was gonna do French tourists. No, it was great to see. And what better to reinvent yourself than to, from the ground up, speak submerse yourself in a completely different language to kind
well,
of
that
complete the
brings
look.
us back to World Beyond coverage. The comments made about Jadis when she says that one of the first things that she did was create like a language to bond them together.
Right.
It makes
Mhm.
sense. He ends up bonding to them in that way,
Right.
in a different way.
I like that. I like that.
Yeah,
explanation.
ideology, language that binds and blinds.
Yeah.
Right. Well, and what better to convince yourself that you've changed is by submersing yourself in a different language, different personality, different voice too. Again, I'll bring this up again and again. His voice is different. His voice is more smooth and less baritone.
It's more
his
like
real voice.
lilting.
Say it again.
Lilting would be the way I
Yeah,
would
yeah,
describe it.
yeah, exactly. When he's especially with the bird, and I'm sorry, I don't know who you are. I'm sorry, I don't know who this Victor Strand person is. I'm
The bird
sorry.
made me think of the pigeon
How did
guy.
she not get the hint after he hugged her and then was like, "No, I'm not Victor Strand."
So I'm gonna say this.
Right, she's like a
Isn't it?
bull in a china shop, or she's just what
I knew
at
that
least-
she got it. It's just like, just
no,
go with it,
You're
lady.
Victor, right? It made me so mad. Like, why don't you? It would have been smart to step back and watch what was going on and go along with it and figure out what was going on instead of just hollering, "No, you're wrong."
So
Sorry, I'm
Did
gonna
we
beat a dead horse
see-
here.
I'm
this
so
one, I guess.
mad. It just
so there is a reason for that. There's a reason for why she was the way she was, and I'm not gonna say it was done particularly well, although they did hammer the point, and it's because of what they bring up at the end, that I'm just like you. And we've said this on the show a lot in prior seasons of The Walking Dead, mostly actually. But it's the you hate in others what you hate in yourself. Like, I hate myself so much for what I did, taking all those kids from their parents. You know, trying to be something else. And here you are. What thing do you have over these people that you've had over them for years, probably since the separation of the boats? It can't be you. How are you still alive? And so she hates that he's been allowed to reinvent himself. There's just no way I'm going to let him get away with that, because she can't
But
get away
it's
with
so
it for
sad.
herself.
She hasn't seen him since the diamond.
Yeah. What?
Yeah.
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 Wow. Yeah, that's
Mhm.
and that's like I said, it's been
And she wouldn't
9
even
years for
know.
her.
She didn't know about him
In the
having his
tower.
like getaway plan
Yeah, he
either.
told her. He
Oh
told
yeah,
her
no, he
about
Did
it.
told
he?
her.
Yeah,
Yep.
he
Yep.
told
Okay,
did
well
it.
then I guess that's
Yeah.
why she's still salty.
No, that's
that
another
I
reason.
don't think
Yeah.
that was it. No, I mean, because they had gotten over that by the time all the crap went down.
Yeah, no, of course. Of course. But
And then
The,
and then didn't she do the same thing? She
because
did the same
that's when
thing.
that was
Yeah.
when she said everybody deserves a second chance to him.
yeah,
When he was gonna take
Yeah.
that it wasn't all
all
that
the
foolhardy
supplies.
to have a plan in place. That's really what it was. The just in case, I think it was.
And
Yeah.
unless it happened off screen, I don't think anyone has filled her in about what Strand has been up to as of late. Like,
Well,
we don't know that she is privy to the whole tower situation and what happened there.
Well, it's clear that they didn't because of what she
I
says at the end.
I mean, but there's no telling what Morgan told her because he obviously knew she knew Strand if she was Alicia's mom and they were all traveling together. So it's entirely possible Morgan filled her in a little bit as
It
to
seemed like
what
Morgan
happened.
tried to be really vague about everything though, because it's like otherwise it's just like a bunch of bad news to share. And I think he didn't want to leave her hopeless.
Yeah.
Because I think it
So,
would be
like, I
easy to
feel
say, like, well, Alicia was dying, so she's dead now.
Yeah.
But he didn't say that. He just said, like, she's a fighter, essentially.
And that would suit his personality. It's just
Yeah.
I
why
can't think of
too
a
much.
reason that Madison would be so angry at Strand right now, based on how they left things.
Well, like I said, it's the whole you hate in others what you hate in yourself. Like, why does he get to reinvent
Yeah, well,
himself when I can't?
She's a fully grown adult. Like, put your big girl pants on and
Exactly.
But this is what I'm talking about. This is where that
do the right thing.
self-sabotaging comes in.
She's so annoying.
There's like a real quality about her that is super self-sabotaging. I don't know why, but it's
apparently
happened time
she's
and
super
time again.
charming.
Well, I
That's
will.
what I'm
I will
saying,
say.
but why does everybody side
Yeah.
with her then? Why does everybody believe everything?
Well, again, that's
comes out of
very
her
easy.
face?
No idea.
Because it's the Rick effect.
Because
You start the
because
series
she's
with a
a-
Rick.
I mean, yeah, she's the main character.
That's that's really easy. So you're automatic. But
That's
see,
it,
that's the
yeah.
thing. When you get a character, it's kind of like the anti-hero, but it's kind of like it's not a Bechdel test, but it's the whole what is it called? Well, it's the electroshock test. Like, how much can we inflict on the audience of this character's personality within a certain boundary so that they don't rage quit? And yeah, but listen to it for many people, including me. I mean, I'll even say it. I wasn't bothered by any of this, any of it. I didn't give my first impressions.
It takes a lot to bother you.
No, well, I mean, but Madison in particular, like, again, this is all within her character. Everything that she's doing in this
I don't know,
episode,
Dave,
even
you're all about story, but their story they're giving us is crap.
but hold
should
on,
be
hold
angry
on.
about
I
that.
didn't get to that part, but even that part, the whole, I thought they could have done a better. They could have done the whole you hate in others. You hate in others what you hate in yourself a little bit better and tied that in. They did at the end, but I don't think it was enough to. I don't think they understood what they
don't-
were doing when they were making
well,
the
for
dialogue.
how ham-fisted every other thing is that they do, like, why play it? Like, why take it easy on that one?
They don't care so much. They couldn't even be bothered to create a new villain for the end. They just resurrected a dead one and brought him on the show.
Albeit, listen, it's somebody that I think a lot of people wanted to see, though. I mean, maybe not
Yeah,
any
it's
of you.
They don't care so much. They couldn't even be bothered to give him a decent scar. He's got like a little pock mark on the side of his head. Like, why
It could
isn't
have been
his
a lot
face all
gnarlier.
right? Why isn't his face all mashed up
Yeah.
and stuff where she hit him with a hammer with a blue
have been
eye? I
a lot
don't, like
gnarlier.
they just don't care. They didn't care. They
I don't
care
know.
about
I
the
don't
They
know.
show
needed they
anymore.
needed me on set.
Yes.
Yes.
I know that they're gonna flesh this out.
They
a
could
little
have drawn a black X on his eye and it would have looked better than
With
the
a
blue
permanent
eye
marker?
and the pock mark. Like in cartoons when the dead characters just have
Yeah.
X's on their eyes.
Just cross that one out.
I want to repeat what Chi Wilson said in the chat because this is hilarious on so many levels. But when you say it like that, it reminds me of the light at the hotel in season 2. Which, like, good call, because there was a light at the top of the hotel in season 2 that Madison turns on even though everyone tells her not to. And guess what ends up
Imagine that.
happening? A ton of people show up. But luckily one of them was Travis, so that was great. But Um, and the tower at season 7, which I didn't even put those two together. Like that
I
season
know.
7 had the big light on top. I didn't even put that together.
That
So
that it
thank you,
connects
because
with
I didn't even think of that.
the hotel, the light at the top of the
Yeah, I
hotel.
didn't
Yeah,
even think of that.
I didn't either. Yeah.
But yeah, when you said that, all I could think of, G. Wilson's, was the. Were you talking about the lantern?
Well, didn't they bring the light to the? No, they didn't actually. It's fine.
Anyway, and then Carol said Madison is self-serving too, and
Carol Jameson.
Hi,
yes.
Carol.
By the way, from
Hi,
Relishing the
Carol.
Dead.
Yes, hi Carol.
Hello,
Thank
Walking
you.
Dead Eternal. I don't know if anybody said hi to you earlier.
Oh, hey, Walking Dead
Walking Dead
Eternal. I'm
Eternal.
sorry, but Troy's an
Hey.
idiot. He says. Which, by the way, I thought of.
I'm
Not an idiot, but I thought there for all of this whole production. It's hard to believe that there isn't some sort of brain damage going on, because there's no reason. I don't know.
I'm just saying.
Why would you
dude
follow
looks
somebody
really
to the
good
end
for
of-
getting slammed in the
If-
face with a hammer?
I'll say this: the brain is a really miraculous thing,
It's
and
not
it
that
can
miraculous.
it can reroute itself to do the same functions through a different path. Neural pathways are incredible. It's a really interesting piece of science.
I
But
guess.
well, the only reason I say that is because I was in the hospital and they said that I was probably going to be a vegetable, and yet here I am,
Yeah. Oh,
and I'm not.
no, you're great. Just kidding.
I'm not a vegetable.
You're great.
at all.
That's why you're here. Well, listen, we asked you to
I mean,
come on the
unless
show.
unless everyone near and dear
I
to me is
don't-
lying to me, this is pretty much how I was.
We
right
did a whole
before.
ceremony.
I
Yeah,
mean,
but-
I can get past the brain damage part. Like whatever.
No, I'm just
But
saying.
his
I think
face
a
would
little
be
bit
messed
plays
up.
into it, the personality or the
His
the
face would be messed up with a hammer to the face, and then a damn explosion, and then he laid there for a while. He didn't get up. It
just
it should
like
be gnarlier.
well, just
So
like
upset. They
Madison,
didn't-
we're
it was
never
too
going to
much
find out
makeup
how.
money.
Well, maybe I don't know.
They were paying Kim too much. They had to cut the makeup budget.
Yikes!
mean-
Salt. I need water for this salt. Hold on a second. Oh, so yes, Thomas
I'm super bummed.
hits on something very interesting that Sherry and I both caught. So, along with the montage, sorry, Rachel, along with the montage of bringing the old man in and getting the meds he needs, blah, 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 and sitting him down and just before he's getting his food, his schnitzel, whatever it is, and this, of course, is a little bit of a time disparity, the sequence that you see of them making the frittata in the kitchen is reminiscent of the holding in season 6. They bring in the things, they chop the vegetables, the sweet potatoes, which you actually see in the garden earlier, the Schafferstoffen in German. And then there's the Swiss chard that they're chopping up, and then down to the frittata, popping it onto the plate. It's the same sequence as the holding, except for the lack of grinding bodies in the beginning for mulch. So
Oh yeah, it's I saw that.
unless we missed something.
Saw it on TikTok. Someone was like, "This is a shot for
For
shot."
shot.
Mm-hmm.
I thought it was
just
clever,
reuse of footage.
but it's all to illustrate the
Straight up
negatives.
reuse of footage.
So like instead of hiding out in a bunker and exploding the on top of the world, no, we're letting people in, not keeping people out. And
So that's the thing, Dave. Like everybody in the comments, that were being facetious was saying, "It's not reuse. It's a callback." I don't think it is a callback.
Well,
I
it
think-
looked a lot
think it was
cleaner
like-
than the holding. Like the whole place where they were cooking and stuff looked a lot cleaner than the holding.
It was
like,
just it wasn't the filter.
I
Wasn't
think
on
they
it.
reused the set. Like,
you're
they just took
you're
the
saying they
same
use the same
set.
footage?
I
just-
saw it side by side. It looked identical to me.
I just think they used
I know it
the
wasn't
same
identical.
set.
It
and
wasn't the
then
same
felt-
vegetables too. But I wouldn't be surprised if they brought in the same actors to do the scene, because they didn't show in the other scene they showed the faces, but in this one it was like the neck down. So I wouldn't be surprised if they used the
Just-
same actors.
Just one little note of interest. One of the books in the library was a cookbook.
Rachel, yes, sorry I cut you off. Go ahead. I just want to say,
I have been trying to talk for so long I can't remember what I was gonna say. So when when everything opened and we see like the vegetables with the German writing and like we hear the speaking German and everything, and then we see Strand. I was embarrassed, but then immediately realized what was going on. I'm like, how the hell did Strand get to Germany?
I think it was easy to
It
think
was
that,
a beer bottle
especially
balloon.
after,
It was
especially
the
Yeah.
after
beer bottle
Dale.
balloon. He just
Well,
floated
coming-
over there.
It was a pilsner.
Coming right off of Daryl Dixon, like my
Yeah.
brain went to like him being in Germany. Yeah. And then I also wanted to say how bummed I am that Troy's return got spoiled, because I think that would have been a really
Good
cool
reveal.
Would have been
moment.
so
Yeah.
cool.
If I
Good job,
if I didn't
AMC.
already know, if I didn't already know, that scene would have been like, what?
Yeah.
Like that
I
would have been
know.
huge.
I'm just gonna say this
know.
out loud because I've basically had a nice sprinkling of moments from this latter half of the season. Again, latter half of the season it spoiled for me. So I know some key things that are coming up that sound interesting that I can never talk about, which spoils my point of view when I'm watching these episodes now. So it's
And I stopped watching like the sneak peeks.
No,
stopped
I had
watching
them- somebody came
like,
into
what's
my
to come
DMs and
like,
told
things
me.
like that. Oh,
I thought they came
delete
into your
them.
personal space and told you.
they came to my house
Was it?
and they
was it
tied
me?
me up to a chair.
No, no.
me?
It was when we were somewhere. We were
No,
at
that
dinner.
was no. That was so there's that and recently.
Oh, and
And
now again.
recently.
Oh, okay,
no,
cool.
no, that okay, now we've seen a little bit of Troy's army, which I can now talk about a little bit. But
I thought you were gonna say Troy's arm, and I was like, he had
That's
those
Alicia's.
arms.
Alicia.
yeah.
That was Alicia's.
Well,
did he
Um,
just join?
is-
Did he join the no arm club?
well,
Oh my gosh.
the day is it's not over yet. And we only have
Is everyone else
5
calling
weekends to talk-
bullshit
on what?
on Troy killing Alicia?
Yeah.
I'm gonna call bullshit on it
100%.
for sure.
Yeah. Bullshit.
And you know why?
He knows it would hurt. He knows it would hurt Madison, and,
And
that's
for-
what he
Yeah.
wants to
For
do.
all the mistrust of Victor earlier on, like this is he's a liar, whatever. I don't trust them for shit.
Well, he is. He's a common. He's a liar. That's what he does.
But that's
mean,
what's-
I'm not saying you know what to expect from him.
Right. And so that's the thing. When you see Troy and you see what he's obviously trying to do, no, that's the liar. That's right there. He's right with the Spider-Man meme. He's a liar. No, he's a liar. No, she's a liar.
Yeah.
So that's why I liked the way even Madison giving Victor the business at the beginning of the episode. Like I'm okay with that because of getting Troy at the end, because you're seeing all these three people being the same way in different ways and reflecting on their prior seasons and what the extent of what they've done also. And then coalescing on this moment with Troy. Okay, I'm in, but again, I will say it, and I have been saying it this episode, which is very not on brand for me. Just the way it's being done, it's just not clicking. It's not if it's not registering
Well,
for
you
you
broke
guys.
Dave.
What?
You broke Dave.
What if-
AMC? You broke Dave because Dave will
What-
never admit that he doesn't
What if?
like
what
it.
if?
No, I'll be accurate. I'll just say it wasn't the
He's
best.
admitting it.
It wasn't the best.
What if Troy is the one that killed everybody when Strand left?
So that would
when he
make
went
things
to
a lot
go-
more interesting.
When he went to go find all the stuff to help them, and he came back and they were all dead. Maybe Troy's group killed them.
That would make things a lot more interesting because then the writers can
Although
pin the
I
malevolent
don't think
force on Troy.
I don't think the show
instead of
cares
themselves.
enough to give us that deep of an explanation.
Okay,
I
can
agree with you.
Ask a
I agree with you.
question about Troy
100%.
though and his motives.
Yeah.
Okay.
Troy's motives?
So, yeah, Troy's
Okay.
motives. Okay, so is there more to this story? Do you think? Like, did he have a child that was taken? Because why? Like, why? The level of obsession is so over the top. Plus,
That's
it's
what
been
I'm
a
saying.
really
Always
long
had a
time.
thing for Madison, though.
I mean, he has. Don't get me wrong. Like, he always had like
Yeah.
a really weird.
He had that weird thing for
Mommy
It was a weird
sort
infatuation,
of
mommy.
thing.
Yeah.
Mommy interested.
Issues.
I
Yeah.
don't like it. Anyway,
I could tell.
So, ooh, skeeves me out. Anyway, I just feel like that's not enough for this much time to have passed and still be like so dedicated to this. Because I feel like he would have been wronged by someone else along the way, and that would have like taken up all of his attention. So, is there some other motive that I'm like not seeing, or
Yeah, he's.
I think we
he's-
want there to be, but
Well,
So-
I think
Well, I
he's
hope.
like you guys said. He has a weird thing for Madison, And okay, the movie The Revenant, the guy that gets mauled by the bear and
I have no idea.
I mean, I didn't
Oh
watch
yeah,
it,
yeah,
but
yeah.
okay,
I
yeah,
so
do.
I
like
I do.
remember
so like
everything
that's
you
based
going
on a
on and
true
on about.
story. That's based on a true story, okay? Like this
Yes.
man was with two other hunters. They were with a hunting pack and he got attacked and mauled by a bear, and I cannot remember his name, but he was left with two hunters that were supposed to wait till he died and then bury him and then catch up with the group. Well, he didn't die, so they waited a little while, and when he didn't die, they just left him there. Like, yeah, they went back to the group and told him that he was dead, but he hadn't died. So he woke up 200 and some miles from any kind of civilization. He's been mauled, like half the skin is ripped off. He crawled on his hands and knees through the wilderness for 200 miles with himself ripped up to pieces, drinking water off the grass and stuff to survive. And when he healed up, he made it a point to go find the two men that left him to die.
I
Now, he
mean,
found both of them. He didn't kill either one of them because he realized that one had just been a kid and the other one had thought he was genuinely thought he was dead. So he ended up not taking his revenge. But what I'm saying is revenge can be a powerful
Motivator.
motivator.
Yeah, yeah. I agree.
And
I
if
agree
he
with that.
feels like Madison just tried to kill him, and then left him there to die and drown after he had a thing for her or had feelings for her or whatever, then he could, it went crazy. He could easily be after her with
I
that
mean, he
much
was always like
motivation.
mentally unwell.
And
Like
but
that was the precedent in the
and
show.
keep in
But
mind that Madison played into it hard. She leaned into that
oh,
hard, knowing
I
that
know it was gross.
knowing she was manipulating him as well.
It was super
So
gross.
so what
But I just kind of felt like he got like he did. Here's the thing.
it's easy to forget
He's
too.
also like, you ruined my father's ranch. You did this. Okay, one, bruh, you're the one who led all of the walkers there because you're so pissed off at your brother.
Right.
Like, and Alicia, you hated her because she took your brother from you, but you're like really crazy.
But there's a point to this. Yeah. Oh, go ahead. Sorry. I didn't mean to cut you off.
Well, I'm just saying, like, all of the things he's like saying that she did, she genuinely wasn't the cause of. Like, did she play into it? Yes. Did she create more conflict than there would have been otherwise? Maybe. Because she got Taka's people involved.
Right.
But it ultimately was his actions that resulted in the ranch falling.
But people can do the serious mental gymnastics and pin it on somebody else. People don't want to believe that they're guilty
I
for anything,
mean,
so they'll twist it
yeah.
up any way they can
They
to put
can.
the
It
blame
just,
on somebody else.
this
Well,
feels
It's-
like a bit of a stretch to
as-
me in
But
an
you guys
apocalypse.
are
to be
treating
this revenge
Troy like he's
motivated.
a rational actor. Like he's not a psychopath. He is a psychopath.
Well, yeah.
That's
No, I
that's
know.
you. So what I wanted to say
Maybe she should have used a spoon.
again instead of a hammer, right? You catch more flies with spoons than hammers. But
Well, the
At
hammer is
least I
go back to
didn't
the
use
first
the
season.
spoon.
But so here's the thing. Here's the thing. What's interesting about what Troy's trying to do is that he's learned a little bit from his time in season 3. Notice that the people that he's with are some of the parents. I'm being specific here. That guy Russell from the beginning. I think he is one of the parents, and he's working with some of the parents.
He looked really familiar to me, and Sharon D said the same thing.
Troy is working with. Well, I don't know about the familiarity with him, and I don't think he's from the Auto Ranch or any of those people. But what happened was, it seems as though Madison was reaching out to people, and as usual, which I think that's actually a little bit interesting, is that the parents aren't automatically coming to Padre to pick up their kids because they might think it's a trap, and I think Troy, being the
I think that's very fair.
the psychopath. Yes, exact. And so I'm okay with that. I like that because it makes things really interesting. It's like, oh, they didn't automatically listen to her message at the end of 806. They're like, I don't know if I trust this lady. She sounds familiar. She sounds like the lady that stole my kid 7 years ago. So
She's wheezing a lot.
so Troy is an opportunity. What?
She's wheezing a
Yeah.
lot.
She's
Well,
wheezing a lot.
Signature
Clearly.
villain move, right?
Clearly the same lady.
And she's yelling like, "Wah!" Anyway, at Troy.
Since
She's
you moved
twirling
up
her
like
mustache.
George
It's
and
so weird.
Wheezy.
Troy
did I
listens
hear
to
that?
this message. Troy reaches out to these parents as well. Troy's getting these parents on his side to take over Padre. Troy doesn't care about Padre. Troy just cares about getting his revenge. And so he sees this as a win-win. The fact that he's not saying the whole truth and nothing but the truth, so help me God, is secondary. It's like he's going to say whatever it takes to get them on his side. He's like say he's telling Frank, he's trying to get Frank on his side, Frank and Klaus. You see what she did to me? She'll do that to you too. You just wait. It's just the same thing that Madison said at the beginning. Oh, Victor, you can't trust him for shit.
I mean,
Like,
he's probably not wrong.
but that's the point, right? He's not wrong, but he's also not right because intentions matter too. Troy's intention is purely malice, purely to get revenge. If he feels like he's giving these people a benefit to joining him, that's more of a reason to motivate them too. Revenge is a motivation, and they want revenge too for having their kids stolen.
My story's better.
It's not different than your story. at
My
all.
story is better though. It is better. Troy had a kid that was taken by Madison. That's much more. I like that more.
Comment on that right now.
That's my headcanon.
That's fine.
Well, I
Well,
know
It
you
comes
had
down
everything
to
ruined
Troy
for
versus
you.
Madison.
so
I'm
yes,
rooting for Troy.
both things can be true.
I'm with you.
Both
on
things
that
can be
one,
true.
Rachel.
I think both things can very much be true.
He's way more fun than she is. I just want to punch her in the face.
I'm not giving up on Madison yet, and I don't think that her performance is that terrible. Actually, there were just some things that
What?
there-
You watched this episode twice.
but like you said,
you-
there were some things in the writing and dialogue that just didn't land, and it just
She's
messes me up. It just messes
she's
me
Funny,
up.
like-
Victor
it's
was
like-
or Coleman was able to deliver those lines
Right. It's
beautifully.
like watching
He was
her
the
is like
focus of the
watching-
episode. I mean, yeah, I
Watching
mean, it carried
Christian
it.
Haydenson playing Anakin in fucking the second movie.
Sand. I hate sand.
Sand.
I
I hate sand. It's coarse. You're Victor Strand.
everywhere.
It gets in your bathing
I-
suit area.
I hate Strand. He's coarse.
Anyway.
Oh my gosh, make a meme.
All right. I don't know how much we can bear of this and why not take an early night? It's
I'm
only an
just-
hour and a
having
half.
coughing
Complaining-
fits, so
I'm just
yeah,
gonna
it's
keep
fine.
complaining about Madison, so let's just
Yep.
call it a night.
So here's the thing. I do.
Oh, I do have one good thing to say.
Okay.
Yay, June and Sherry.
Yeah.
That's what I was trying to get you to keep watching.
That was it.
That's it. Yeah.
Yeah.
No Dwight. So where's Dwight? I don't know.
And
Yeah.
Daniel.
Carol says
Yay,
she wanted to
Daniel.
bang
Definitely
her
yay,
head
Daniel.
with the hammer that Madison used on Troy.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah. Can I get that hammer?
Madison, can I borrow that hammer?
Yeah.
What
It's-
color would it make her eyes? Because they're already blue.
What a neat trick. Anyway. I don't really know.
Oh, wait a minute. I must have had a lapse. G. Wilson says, personally, I'm on Team Madison mainly because of Troy bringing up Ophelia to Daniel. What did he say to Daniel? I think I missed it.
Oh, okay. So Troy says to Daniel right before he leaves, he goes, or not before, no, when he first sees him, he says something here. Hold on a second. I'll just pull it up. Because I write quotes.
I did love seeing Daniel in this episode.
Come on,
But, yeah.
Ben.
We're not
I just love
friends.
him. I just love him. The "we're not friends" thing was so good.
Okay,
So good. Plus, that was a moment filled with tension.
right.
I was more concerned about Daniel seeing Strand than anybody else.
Mm-hmm.
But Troy kind of takes the stink off of it because of what Troy says also. It's like, hate to do what I did to your daughter, Troy says to Daniel.
Oh, okay. I did miss that line.
Ooh, Anthrax much?
Yeah, that's right.
Well, then Madison. So I don't want to get into season 3 coverage. Well, maybe when this is all over, we'll recover.
Wait, what did Troy do to Ophelia? Hold on.
Well, he is responsible for all the walkers taking, like you said earlier, all the walkers coming and taking over the ranch, or overrunning the ranch. Remember? Who said that? Who
Yeah.
said that earlier?
Me.
Bridget did.
And she got bit.
Was that when she got bit?
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Well,
Yeah.
I
on the
thought
way
after
out.
they
Yeah.
left. No. Yeah. It was as they were leaving.
Yeah. Exactly. Tragically. Man, he knows a lot for having been gone for a while. Anyway.
Yeah, I know, right? Like, how does
His
he
brain's
know
not
that?
suffering too
But yeah,
much.
like you said.
Well, he's been following them across the country. If you remember the map he had at the end of 8A. He had the map with all the
Mhm.
places
And
that our
because
people
everybody's
have
talking
been.
on the radio,
Yeah.
like we've said for
He
seasons.
he just tracked them, like he just tracked them across country, and he's got tracking skills too.
Yeah,
It's the US. How big is it? People just run into each other all the time.
right. It's like Germany, actually. That's how big it is. Right, it's like Munich. Um, yeah, I don't really know what else there is to say about this episode. I will say, just maybe just to cover my end of things, like Bridget said, I'm maybe a little bit more on the positive of Bridget's spin, even though it doesn't sound like it. I did like some of the things, like in terms of similitude between characters. I like that one character's erroneousness puts off the stink of another's. Like, oh, you thought that was bad. Look at this guy. And you thought Madison was bad. Well, this guy's a whole lot worse. IMHO, whatever. But I did enjoy seeing Madison and Strand reconnect. I like when there's a little bit of tension and a little bit of, well, I see the crap in you and me, and by the end of it, it's a bit of a touching moment, and so, the whole Victor grabbing Madison's hand, I enjoyed that, but again, the way it was constructed was a bit dubious to me. I did like Strand. I did like seeing a redeemed Strand in a way. Strand having a second chance as well,
I loved
and
it.
truly believing it. Right, Rachel? You saw it and you're like, huh, maybe he is different after 7 to 9 years. Maybe.
Well, if I have to choose between Strand and Madison, who I'm gonna pull for, it's gonna be Strand all the way.
Right.
I'm not saying Strand isn't gonna, use his wiles to protect the people that he loves, but what I'm saying is I think he actually has people that he loves now, genuinely.
Yeah. What
And
you were saying about
I felt
Daryl,
that.
right? Do you remember you said one of the things you said about Daryl having a love interest or being with Laurent is in The Walking Dead, Daryl Dixon, so everybody knows, is that
Yeah.
I'm afraid of his risk assessment when it comes to the people he loves. What if they're in the way and he might do things differently? Well, in this case, it actually might be a good
Yeah.
thing for him. It's not a
For
pebble in his
Strand,
pocket, you know?
Right.
Season 4 reference for those who know. Which I thought of when I thought they were going to the raft, by the way, when Victor was going for the raft that he came in on, I thought that was maybe the reference they were going to go for. His just in case raft, 4x4.
Yeah,
But it wasn't.
Get out of here, you and the raft you came in on.
You get out of here. You get.
You and the raft you came in on.
Yeah.
Just want to say how swords and rafts, like, they're not a great combination.
Yeah. Well, also time, but yeah, I
Well,
don't know.
that raft didn't look like it held up.
Yes, yeah. By the way,
The sword got to it.
G. Wilson is saying Troy led the horde to the ranch, and that was what got Ophelia killed. And then Daniel interrogated Nick about it, but Nick lied and said Jake did it. Ooh, because he's dead.
Like,
You
I
know?
don't know. This is,
Can't
like,
blame
none of
Jake
this
now.
makes sense.
You gotta
was
do
dead.
bad to do good. Daniel, how does he know Ophelia's Daniel? Oh yeah, Thomas, whatever, Thomas.
Gotta be cruel.
Okay, so yeah, again, I definitely did enjoy this episode. I just saw the things that you were seeing and didn't put my blinders on. refused to put my blinders on to say okay, well, whatever. I did not like the lack of show don't tell again. And it's like getting stung again after saying, "No, don't stop singing me" in the last half of the season, the first half. I do like Madison. I'm just gonna say it out loud. I just don't like how they're treating her, and maybe
Here's why you're wrong.
it had occurred to me. It had occurred to me again. The whole "I hate in others what I hate in myself." It occurred to me that I think a little of that is intentional. They want to bring you to a place where she's not that great. And you have to make it obvious that she's not that great because of what she's done, because she took all those kids. And you're right there with the parents that are with Troy, the Padre parents, that are like, screw you. We're going to take over the place. We're not even going to let you take over these kids and give them a better life. So you go, we stay.
Padres.
Yeah. So, well, and there's two Padre factions. The Padre faction with the kids Kim with the kids. Sorry. Madison with the kids trying to find the parents and trying to make it better than Shrike did. And there's the other faction that's with Troy and he's manipulating for his own ends, whatever they might be. Maybe Bridget's right. Maybe she's not. Maybe we're both right. I mean, either way, it looks like he's manipulating these parents to get what he wants as well.
I'd burn them all, Thomas.
You burn the what? Sorry.
So
Thomas said my mom needs to make a ton of Madison dolls to keep up with demand.
Thomas, you need to commission Sharon to make a Madison doll.
They're in demand for burning as effigies.
Only if you
does anyone else
promise.
feel like
Thomas.
Does anyone else feel like these Padre kids are going to go the way of the Cackleberry kids?
I really hope not. I can't handle more kids
The
dying,
Cackleberry
Alicia.
kids are all dead too now, apparently.
See, that is not confirmed.
That's
Still.
They were in the nuclear zone,
Listen,
and they just left them there.
They built another plane, Charity. and
as
they
Brian
flew
Castrillo
away.
says, unless we see a body.
They had the balloon.
No
Yeah.
one's gone till
Yeah,
they're
man.
gone. So,
God. And with that, everybody, I'm just gonna call it right now. Okay.
Good idea.
I see. This is why I like being with you guys, because we get it out, and then we can hopefully watch the next episode with a little bit better. Little of the gas has been deflated from this episode, so I can watch the next one and hopefully be
if
a
we
little
get
bit more open
Frank, then yeah.
to it. Yeah, exactly.
More Frank.
More Frank.
More Frank, please.
More Klaus.
I'm just gonna let that linger for a second. And if you like what you've
We
seen,
need more creepy Dave.
Give us 5
Less
stars and a
Madison.
franc.
head over to ratethispodcast.com/squawkingdead and leave us 5 stars and a franc. Fine. The old currency of France. Tell us what you liked. Tell us what you didn't like. Man, I'm not looking forward to this. But remember to tell us after every episode. And if you really like what you've heard, think about just following for free ko-fi.com/squawkingdead or patreon.com/squawkingdead so you can get the recording schedules when we're not going live, so that you can be a part of these chats in the real-time chat when we do pre-recorded episodes. It's absolutely free to join. All we're asking for you to do is follow on either platform so you can get the recording schedules and know what cool things are coming up. And as you may or may not know, the notes that I took from this episode will be available on Ko-fi or Patreon for members and tippers. So if you like what you've seen, consider tipping us as well on ko-fi.com/squawkingdead. And you'll be able to see these notes, get the unedited episode recordings for when we do pre-recorded shows and interviews, by the way, and a whole host of other perks. And if you really, really, really enjoy what we're doing, I don't know about today, but maybe we brought up some really good points, we'll consider joining a membership tier on either Ko-fi or Patreon for as little as $1 a month to get access to our Discord and a whole host of other perks at the base level, and Whispers and Survivor tiers as well. And I didn't bring this up. I don't know why I didn't bring it up, because I didn't think I'd end this soon. It hasn't been 3 hours yet.
Thank God.
Whispers and Survivors tier members get shout outs at the end of these episodes. Starting with the Survivors tier, we've got, not Takira anymore, so let's just cut that out. We can't cut that out because we're live. And so
Yeah, and also she will be again.
she will be again.
She will be again.
But because I should say, Takira, it was great to have Takira on the Walking Dead Daryl Dixon breaking down the episodes with us.
Yes.
It was really, really fantastic. Her input was just like the right amount of spice that we needed to, first of all, shove some things back in our faces, which I didn't appreciate, which makes a great show. And she's at ko-fi.com/Connie Dixon for life. That's Connie Dixon, the number 4 life, LYFE. And starting with at Real Ryan GM on Twitter, at Lisa Jones 71 on Instagram, or at Jones AG6 on Twitter. And of course, you can catch her podcast, Relishing the Dead. You should join the Facebook group. It's a good idea. And maybe but the Facebook group is where the action's at. Fan Art Lindy, who you can reach at ko-fi.com/fanartslindy. And on to our Whispers tier members, who are at Judith.Morton on Instagram, at Aiden Atkin, who you can reach at ko-fi.com/Aiden Atkin, at Tyler Phillip Cox on both Instagram and X, aka Twitter, and both Sandy.D.Morrison on Facebook, and at Lois.Martin.54 on Facebook. Oh, and of course, the less we forget, at I Found Them Rick G on X or Twitter. That's Mitchell Shoemaker. And guys, thank you so much for joining us on this live stream.
Yeah, Yeah, thank you.
We don't often do these things, but we love you, and we wanted your feedback
think
on this
they're
episode as
fun.
well.
We love you guys too.
Yeah,
and
and-
thanks, G. Wilsons. She's
Yes.
just the cutest.
G.
I was
Wilson.
gonna
Wilson.
I was
thing
gonna
to
read G
say.
Wilson's comment. G Wilson said, "Just wanted to say that you guys are funny and your convos are insightful. Hope you're all doing well. Doing very well after that comment.
Oh, I
Thank
really,
you very
really
I
much."
hope we didn't laugh too much.
Listen, it's our greatest fear
You're no
when we
Blue
cover these
Cat
episodes.
42.
Yeah. And you know what? We're not going to always be this spicy, but you know, when it's warranted, we
Well,
gotta give the
sometimes
devil
we're
its
spicy.
due. I'm not always going to be this spicy. That's what I'm saying. I was trying to be nice.
David
okay?
is the milk to our spice.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I'm the peanut butter yogurt.
Yeah, it's usually like spicy, mild milk toast.
And then milk.
Milk toast. You know what? I'm gonna make milk toast tonight for dinner. All right, thank you everybody for coming. And you know what? We'll see you next
Right,
week.
Carol.
Carol.
Be
I-
spicy.
I'm hoping,
Yes.
just like you guys, that that things start to pick up. This series it's gotta leave us with a bang. Even if it's not the way we know already, it's not what we want. We got our news in the first half of the season. I'm doing my
I'm
best to push
afraid
past it.
The
I just
only
don't.
bang we're gonna get is me banging the lid of my laptop down when I'm done watching the episode.
Well, here's the thing. I just didn't appreciate the fact that line was in there.
Yeah.
I
Yes,
would have
Thomas,
been
hate
fine.
bang.
I would have been fine. I would have been fine this episode if they did not bring up that line that Victor says that they all died.
That's why I said in my head canon.
Yeah,
I don't know who those people are that died, but they're
I'm-
not the people I love.
but you know what? It's like that thing, right? Isn't it that thing? The glass is already broken. It's like even if my logically know, oh, that doesn't mean whatever, and the wiki is all people. It's not the AMC official. Your brain already jumps to that conclusion, so you're like, "F you, show. Why do that?" Anyway, enough of the spicy Dave because he's not palatable at all. Thank you so
milk
much for joining.
milk toast.
Yeah, I mean, it's what
Dave put raisins in his potato salad.
it's what you came for.
Ew.
It's what you came for. Good night, everybody. We'll see you real soon. And be with us breaking down these episodes shortly. Again, follow us on Ko-fi or Patreon to join us in any pre-recorded conversations that we have. It's not often that we go live, so think about it. Take care, everybody. We'll see you soon. Good night.
Meanwhile, Dave's over here peddling for patreon.com like, you can have D's notes.